America tomorrow to face Mike Tyson in Las Vegas. He said he looks forward to fighting Tyson for the world heavyweight crown and means to take it. Some of his handlers didn't quite agree on what they should say.
Win or lose against Tyson, Bruno stands to pocket a small fortune for his pains. Today he wouldn't confirm a figure of £2 million, instead a confident pose for the cameras before flying Concorde to his American training camp tomorrow. And there were no predictions on which round he'll stop Tyson.
I'm not Muhammad Ali, all I know, I hope that he turns up on February the 25th.
At the news conference, the question of Bruno's purse came up again. The promoter was about to tell all when manager Terry Lawless stepped in.
With respect, that's not your business or their business. That's our business.
It's going to ask the question. They'll ask the question.
Well, they wouldn't get an answer from me.
Okay.
Ringside tickets for the fight will cost £550. Frank had just such a seat when he last witnessed the terror of Tyson.
Vast sums to come here with the one, and he's knocked him out. And he looks as though he's almost unconscious.
A satellite TV company say they'll be showing the fight live in Britain at 3 o'clock in the morning. It'll also be shown in cinemas. But ITV say they have rights to the fight as well, and legal action is possible. But Bruno's only concern now is the fight. Even girlfriend Laura will temporarily take second place.
Laura's coming over in between, halfway through the training for just a couple of days and going back. But I'll have a headache when she comes over.
Mark Austin, ITN Sport, London.
Main news again.
ITV and the new satellite television company Sky over who has the rights to broadcast live the Bruno-Tyson fight next month. Sky says Bruno gave them the contract, but ITV say they have the rights to screen Tyson's fights, and they're taking legal action.
It is the intention of the ITV companies, as soon as possible, to take proceedings against all other necessary parties to protect our rights.
We believe that Mike Tyson assigned the rights to Frank Bruno, and Frank Bruno has sold the rights to the fight to Sky Television.
Frank Bruno has just arrived in New York en route for his training camp in Arizona. He told reporters he means serious business.
Camp in Arizona later today to begin the build-up for his fight against world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. That's scheduled, of course, for February the 25th. West Indies cricket captain Viv Richards.
In Las Vegas on February the 25th, the world heavyweight champion has been involved in yet more trouble outside the ring, scuffling with a camera crew in Vancouver. Tyson was in Canada to see his estranged wife, Robin Gibbons.
He grabbed my camera and he was trying to throw it on the ground. He was in a rage. I'm amazed he actually didn't hit me because he looked crazy. You know, I've also got claw marks from his fingernails where he grabbed me. And then we were sort of like doing this, trying to get my camera because he was trying to throw it on the ground and stomp on it.
Meanwhile, Frank Bruno continues his lonely training routine in the small town of Fountain Hills, Arizona, trying to distance himself from Tyson's personal tribulations. The Canadian television company involved are now considering taking legal action against the young champion for assault. And there's another boxing row looming, this time in Britain. The former British featherweight champion and now promoter, Pat Cowdell, has attacked the Board of Control for not sanctioning Lloyd Christie's title defence, scheduled for January the 24th in Birmingham, against Robert Harkin, the Scottish light welterweight.
The Board of Control have been, I must say, not much help to us at all on this promotion. I think boxing in Birmingham at the present time is on a very, very low state. Tom and Pat Leach are trying to keep boxing in Birmingham alive, and the Board of Control are doing nothing to help us.
Golf administrators organised
Tyson's away, of course, and Mike Tyson temporarily given up training. We hear again. He's gone to see his estranged wife, Robin, in Canada. It was evident, though, that the world champion hasn't forgotten how to sling a mean left hook, as he showed the television camera crew. Now, the crew, never knowing when to take a count of 10, continued to pursue Mr. Tyson, but then their camera came off second best, and down it went. Meanwhile, Frank Bruno was back at his training camp in Arizona. Big Frank may not be the celebrity in the States that he is back home, but he can still attract a small crowd. Bruno, looking as fit as ever, then performed well for the press, skipping like a good un, and all these curly-whirlies. Now, that's very hard work. And then he does some press-ups, then to the punchback, what he hopes to do to Mike Tyson in a month's time. Now, the football news back home, goalkeeper Dave Beck.
Studio from Las Vegas, caught a plane to Vancouver to see his wife. I think this is good, and had to be restrained from hitting the cameraman by the doorman at the hotel in Vancouver, who's a 6'4" martial arts expert, He might actually have a better chance than Bruno in beating Tyson.
It's all good box office stuff, isn't it? Andrew Neil, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you a bit
Brooks
later.
in London took a £1,000 bet that Bruno would knock him out in the 8th round. And the odds are attractive, 125 to 1.
They've laid out their welcome in the gambling city, but most of the incident so far has been out of the ring. The fight is set for the Las Vegas Hilton, which hopes to fill its crock of gold with $7 million in ticket receipts alone. But the action hasn't moved here yet, rather to the surprise of Mr. Tyson's handlers. His security men, assistants and sparring partners were waiting for him at Johnny Tocco's gym where he's supposed to work out. What they didn't know was that he'd flown to Vancouver to see his estranged wife and was sparring instead with Canadian photographers. And this after he'd promised before the incident to be on his best behavior.
Mike, have you been a good boy in Vegas?
I've been pretty much a good boy, yeah.
The champ was appearing with his manager, Don King, and insisting on some right to do what he wanted.
I want to run my household just like everybody else, just like you want to run your household. You know what I mean? I'm sure, excuse my French, I'm sure there's a lot of ass kicking in your house and whatever, and nobody say anything. Be nice. I want to run my house. I want to live the way I want to live.
For his British challenger, Frank Bruno, life is altogether quieter. He's working out with his trainer, George Francis, in a health resort in Arizona and sees an obvious opportunity in Mr. Tyson's misfortunes.
I think this is the peak time to beat Mike Tyson because I don't think his mind's on the job at the moment, you know, and I don't think it will be on the job.
Frank Bruno's workouts are well attended. He's won a lot of friends here, even though many of them think he'll be flattened in the early rounds. He insists he'll surprise a lot of people, Mr. Tyson among them.
I'm not coming here to be another opponent or anything like that. I'm coming here to do some serious business.
Serious business being?
The next heavyweight champion of the world.
And finally, we return to Highmore Colliery in
Thank you for joining us from Las Vegas.
My pleasure.
Tell me, since Frank Bruno is a countryman of mine, and since George Bush said he wanted a kinder, gentler America, are you going to be kind and gentle to Frank Bruno?
Not at all.
According to Jet magazine, I was just reading the latest Jet magazine, and it was writing about you and your life, and you were trying to make clear, I think, that contrary to what some newspapers say, you don't want to have a reconciliation in your marriage, do you?
Well, not really. I basically don't want to talk about that situation because both of us, you know, we made big mistakes, and I said things that I really shouldn't have said, which I meant them, but I shouldn't have made them publicized.
Do you think you'll find it in future difficult to trust women simply because you worry whether they're after your money or your fame of having the name of Tyson? How will you work out in future whether you can trust somebody?
Well, like I said before, yes, you know, I mean, you basically don't know who you can trust, you know, if you spend time with them, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to handle the situation and take chances, you know, life's all about taking chances, and, you know what I mean, you never know, anything could happen, you know what I mean? Once you fall in love and you catch that Jones, you know what I mean, you forget all about who you are, what you represent, and you're not caught up in yourself anymore, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Do you think you are in control of your life, Mike, now?
Well, you know, at this particular stage, you know, I mean, I'm kind of frustrated at this particular time, but as far as, I mean, being happy, I mean, I'm content with what's going on at this particular moment. I'm going through a difficult time in my life.
You're the most famous sportsman in the world. Does that put terrible pressure on a young man like yourself?
You know, I mean, it's very difficult to explain that because I really, you know, I mean, I don't understand the situation, you know, I mean, that intense on what I represent. To be honest with you, I really don't understand it that much. And I'm familiar with the pats on the backs and the hey chants, but I really don't understand the position that well. So it's based a comment on it. I mean, I don't see myself having a long career by any means at that. You know what I mean? But as long as it lasts, I'm going to try to make it as comfortable as possible.
Tell me, you don't plan on having a long career. Does it ever worry you, the thought of being injured in the ring, or the thought of injuring somebody else?
It never came through my mind. I never thought about that, no.
And it doesn't worry you about injuring somebody else with that terrific punch of yours?
Well, because you know, no one wants to get hurt, God. Especially now, I'm a Christian, and
basically, you know what I mean, I have took the choice of, I'm in the hurt business. So, you know what I mean, no one can come in the business and say, well, we can't fight because you can't hurt me and I can't hurt you.
Right. And has your faith, has your Christianity helped you through these past few months?
Well, I got a great deal of faith in God. You know what I mean? At the beginning, I really didn't think much of it, but I've been through so much. Oh, God. It comes in handy, really.
Tell me, what, in all the fortune that you've made so far from boxing, what material thing that you've bought has given you the greatest pleasure?
I don't know. I guess I bought a dog, 2 dogs that I like, pretty much.
When you have to be violent in the ring, as you say, in the hurt business, are you a violent guy in private life, or is that not true?
Well, no, I wouldn't say I'm violent. It's just that I'm just settled. You know what I mean? I don't take any garbage. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tolerate being taken advantage of or anything.
Mike, it's been a great joy talking to you, and may I just wish you a much happier 89 than you had 88.
Thank you, and I hope you have the same also.
And I hope you're gentle with Frank Bruno, just because I worry about him on the 25th. Do you have a New Year's wish for Robin, by the way?
Huh?
Do you have a New Year's wish for Robin?
No, I just hope everything's good and she's very happy.
Thanks very much.
What a formidable man, eh? Well, rather Robin than me, I
Yes,
think.
he was giving nothing away, was he? I thought, you know, we weren't going to mention the wife, but and the lawyers may have been watching, but David, good on him, got in there just at the end there, but he was saying nothing, was he?
Absolutely not.
Right, we've got a live report from our Manchester studio on that unrest that